All right, get this, a robot, a shipwreck, and a deserted island. It sounds like the setup for a sci-fi thriller, right? But The Wild Robot takes this premise and dives headfirst into some surprisingly deep themes. We're talking family dynamics, the nature of nurture, and what it means to be human, all through the journey of Roz, a robot voiced by none other than Lupita Nyong'o. Now that choice alone has me hooked.
It's a brilliant casting decision. Lupita Nyong'o has this incredible ability to convey complex emotions with such nuance and depth. Having her voice a character who, on the surface, lacks those very things adds a whole other layer to the storytelling.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, we're talking about a film that pulled in over $100 million at the box office. People clearly connected with this story on an emotional level, and I have a feeling Youngo's performance played a huge role in that. It's like she helped audiences see past the robot exterior and connect with the very human story at its core.
And that's what makes The Wild Robot so compelling. It takes this familiar framework, a children's book adaptation, a heartwarming premise, and uses it to explore some really thought-provoking questions. For example, can a robot programmed for logic and efficiency truly understand the complexities of raising a child? Can it provide the same kind of comfort and emotional support as a human parent?
Especially considering Roz ends up adopting a son. This isn't just a robot fumbling through the wilderness, this is a robot navigating the uncharted territory of parenthood.
Exactly. And the film doesn't shy away from the challenges of that journey. One of the reviews you shared, written by Brent Marchant, touches on this beautifully. He talks about how the film highlights our ability to exceed our own expectations when faced with unexpected challenges, much like a robot learning to parent.
That review really resonated with me, particularly the idea of exceeding our limits. I think it speaks to a universal human experience. We often discover hidden strengths and capabilities within ourselves when we're pushed outside our comfort zones. And in Roz's case, being stranded on a deserted island with a child depending on her, that's about as far outside her comfort zone as you can get.
Absolutely. And this ties into the theme of wildness that permeates the entire film. We often think of wild as something untamed or chaotic, but can also represent freedom, unrestrained potential, the ability to adapt and evolve. In a way, Roz's journey is a testament to that very idea. She's thrust into this wild, unpredictable environment, stripped of everything familiar, and it's within that space of uncertainty and challenge that she begins to discover who she truly is, beyond her programming.
It's like the island itself becomes a catalyst for her transformation, pushing her to evolve beyond her initial design.
Precisely. It's almost as if, by stripping away the familiar structures and routines of her programmed existence, the island allows her wildness, her true potential, to emerge.
This is already making me rethink my own preconceived notions about robots. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking of them as rigid, bound by their programming. But the wild robot suggests that maybe, just like humans, they're capable of far more than we give them credit for. Perhaps they too can learn, adapt, and even evolve beyond their initial programming.
It's a fascinating concept, isn't it? This idea that the limits we place on artificial intelligence might be more a reflection of our own limited understanding than any inherent limitation within the technology itself.
And it makes you wonder if we can accept the possibility of a wild robot, one that defies our expectations and forges its own path, what does that say about our own capacity for growth and transformation? Perhaps we're not so different from Roz after all, each of us navigating our own uncharted territory, trying to find our place in a world that doesn't always offer a clear roadmap.
It's a powerful thought, and it speaks to the film's ability to work on multiple levels. On the surface, you have this heartwarming story about a robot surviving in the wild and forming unconventional family bonds. But beneath that surface lies a much deeper exploration of what it means to be human, to adapt, to evolve, and to embrace the unknown.
And let's not forget the other big names lending their voices to this story: Pedro Pascal, Kit Connor, Bill Nighy. This isn't just a talented cast, it's a deliberate choice that speaks volumes about the film's ambition.
Absolutely. The filmmakers weren't content with just creating a charming children's film. They wanted to tell a story with depth, nuance, and emotional weight, one that would resonate with audiences of all ages. And having actors of this caliber on board sends a clear message. This is a film that deserves your attention.
It's like they're using those familiar voices to draw you in, to make you think, oh, this is a safe, heartwarming story, and then bam, they hit you with these profound questions about what it means to be alive, to love, to connect, and to find your place in a world that's constantly changing.
And to find those connections in the most unexpected of places.
Okay, before we get carried away with all these big ideas, let's ground ourselves a little bit.
Okay.
The movie is called The Wild Robot, after all.
Right.
There's a reason for that title, and it's definitely not just because Roz is stranded on a deserted island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. The title itself sets up a fascinating tension. We're primed to expect a robot, which we often associate with order control logic. But wild suggests something unpredictable, untamed, even chaotic.
And that's what makes the movie so intriguing. It's about how those two seemingly opposing forces, the robotic and the wild, can actually coexist, even interweave. Think about it. Roz is programmed to survive, to be efficient, to follow orders. But she's also exposed to the wild, unpredictable rhythms of nature. She's thrown into this chaotic world of storms, floods, even natural predators.
And she doesn't just survive, she thrives. She adapts. She learns to navigate the wilderness in a way that challenges our preconceived notions of what a robot is capable of.
Exactly. It's like the movie says, we think robots are limited by their programming, but maybe that's just our perspective. It makes you wonder, maybe robots can be more than we think, maybe even more than their creators ever intended.
And that brings us back to those themes of parenting and family. It's not just about a robot adapting to nature. It's about a robot discovering the capacity for love, compassion, and empathy, which are often seen as inherently human qualities. Think about that scene where Roz first encounters the baby sea otter. She's programmed to be cautious, even wary of unfamiliar creatures, but she instinctively understands the otter's vulnerability and feels compelled to care for it.
That's a perfect example. It's like the movie says, this is a robot who doesn't just learn to survive, she learns to care, to nurture. It's almost as if the wildness of nature, the unpredictability of it all, forces her to tap into a different kind of intelligence, a more emotional, compassionate intelligence.
And that's something that resonates with us on a deeply human level. We all have those moments where we step outside our comfort zones, where we face challenges that force us to dig deeper to discover new strengths and capacities within ourselves. The review by Marchant emphasizes this beautifully, highlighting how the film celebrates that human capacity for growth and resilience.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It's like the wild robot is whispering, don't be afraid to embrace the wildness within yourself, to explore the uncharted territories of your own potential. You might surprise yourself with what you discover.
Absolutely. And that's what makes the film so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just an entertaining story, it's a meditation on the human condition, on our capacity for growth and connection, even in the face of uncertainty and change.
And even though it's a children's film, there's a certain level of depth and complexity that makes it work for adults, too. I mean, think about the visuals. We're talking about stunning animation that captures the beauty of the natural world.
Precisely. And those visuals serve more than just aesthetic purposes. They help to amplify the themes of wildness, nature, and transformation. Take the use of color, for example. The color palette is vibrant and rich, reflecting the vibrant, almost untamed beauty of the natural world.
It's like they used color to convey this sense of awe and wonder, to highlight the vibrancy and resilience of life.
Exactly. The animation style itself is captivating. It's expressive, almost fluid, like the animals themselves, the way they move, their interactions with Roz. It all feels so organic.
You're painting such a vivid picture. I'm picturing the scene where the robot and the otters are playing together in the ocean, and it's just so heartwarming, but it's also so profound. It's a testament to the power of connection, to the ability of two seemingly disparate beings to find common ground and forge a bond that transcends differences.
It's a reminder that even in a world that often feels increasingly divided, there's still hope for connection, for understanding, for forging relationships that challenge our assumptions and broaden our horizons.
It's like the wild robot is holding up a mirror to our own potential for connection and empathy, reminding us that the wildness within us can be a force for good.
And that the future, just like the wild, is full of possibilities.
So what's next? Are we ready for the grand finale of our deep dive into The Wild Robot?
We're almost there.
Okay, so we've talked about robots exceeding their programming, about wildness as a catalyst for growth,
Right.
but there's one more layer to this wild robot onion that we need to peel back.
Yeah. What's up?
It's those key words we keep circling back to. Comforting traditional parenting.
Okay.
These ideas, they seem so at odds with the image of a robot surviving on a deserted island.
You've hit on something crucial there. The movie plays with our expectations. We expect a robot to be cold, logical, devoid of emotion. But Roz challenges those assumptions.
Right.
Through the act of caring for another being, she discovers a depth of empathy and compassion that some humans struggle to achieve.
That's the heart of it, isn't it? It's not just about a robot learning to survive. It's about a robot discovering what it means to truly care for another being. It's about the transformative power of love and connection regardless of where it comes from.
and it makes us question our definitions of those very
Mm.
concepts. Can a robot truly love? Can it provide the same nurturing environment as a human parent? These are questions science fiction has grappled with for ages, and The Wild Robot offers a fresh perspective.
It's like the film is saying, hey, maybe love and family aren't bound by biology. Maybe they're about something deeper, something more fundamental to what it means to be alive.
Precisely. And that's where the true brilliance of The Wild Robot shines through. It takes these complex philosophical questions and makes them accessible, even heartwarming, without shying away from the challenges and complexities.
Yeah, it's a reminder that sometimes the most profound lessons come from the most unexpected sources. Who knew a robot on a deserted island could teach us so much about what it means to be human?
And more importantly, it leaves us with a sense of hope. Hope that even in a world that often feels uncertain and chaotic, we have the capacity for connection, for growth, for exceeding our own expectations.
This whole deep dive has been an eye-opener. If anyone out there is like me, initially dismissing The Wild Robot as just another kid's movie, take my advice and reconsider. This is a story for anyone who has ever felt lost, who has ever found family in unexpected places, or who has ever wondered about the vastness of their own potential.
It's a film that reminds us to embrace the wildness within ourselves and in the world around us. For it is often within that wildness that we discover who we truly are.
Beautifully said. Well, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into The Wild Robot. What a journey it's been.
Indeed. But like any good deep dive, it's left us with even more questions than we started with. And perhaps that's the greatest gift a film can offer. The gift of continued curiosity, of wanting to explore these themes further to see how they resonate in our own lives.
So, to everyone listening, keep those questions close. Let them guide you, challenge you, and inspire you to embrace the wildness within and around you. Until next time, happy exploring.